In the heart of counterculture movements, amidst the raw energy of punk rock, a subculture emerged, one of rebellion, freedom, and survival. This is the world of homeless punk rockers, a unique and often overlooked facet of the punk movement that thrived from the 1980s through the 2000s. As punk rock took the world by storm, it gave birth to a myriad of subcultures, each with its own interpretation of the genre's rebellious spirit. Among them were the homeless punk rockers, individuals who chose an unconventional path, eschewing societal norms and expectations in favor of a life of freedom and unpredictability. The 1980s were a time of upheaval and change, and for many, punk rock was the soundtrack to their rebellion. Within this milieu, a subset of punk rockers embraced homelessness as a form of resistance against the status quo. Hitchhiking, train hopping, and panhandling became not just survival tactics, but symbols of their defiance and freedom. This lifestyle was by no means easy. It was often fraught with danger and uncertainty. Yet, for these individuals, the thrill of the unknown, the camaraderie among fellow nomads, and the sense of liberation from societal constraints made it all worthwhile. Hitchhiking offered the promise of new horizons. Freight trains symbolized a connection to a bygone era of adventure, and panhandling was a testament to their resourcefulness and resilience. As we journey through the decades, we'll see how the experiences of homeless punk rockers evolved, shaped by economic downturns, urban gentrification, and shifts in the punk scene itself. Yet through it all, their spirit of rebellion endured, their stories woven into the fabric of punk rock history, adding a layer of depth and complexity to a movement often misunderstood by mainstream society. So strap in and prepare for a wild ride as we delve into the fascinating world of homeless punk rockers. From the gritty city streets to the open rails, we'll uncover the untold history of these rebels without a home, painting a vivid picture of their unique journey through the world of punk rock. The 1980s saw the rise of punk rock, a genre synonymous with anti-establishment sentiments and DIY ethos. This decade, drenched in vibrant rebellion, witnessed the advent of a subculture within a subculture. The homeless punk rockers, a tribe of misfits who found solace in the discordant tunes and anarchist lyrics of punk rock. Punk rock was born from a desire to challenge the status quo, to shatter the glossy facade of the mainstream, and to provide a voice for the voiceless. It was a clarion call for those who felt sidelined by society, and amongst the crowd, homeless punk rockers found a community that echoed their struggle and their defiance. But this wasn't just about music. This was a lifestyle, a statement of rejection against societal norms and expectations. The homeless punk rockers weren't simply casualties of circumstance, they were rebels who chose the uncertainty of the streets over the monotony of the 9-to-5 grind. Living on the fringes, these individuals embraced homelessness as a form of rebellion. They traded traditional comforts for the freedom of the open road, the thrill of the unknown. Hitchhiking, hopping freight trains, and panhandling weren't just means of survival, they were symbols of defiance, badges of honor in a world that sought to constrain them. The streets became their home, the road their companion, and punk rock their anthem. They found beauty in the chaos, a sense of purpose in the struggle, and a sense of belonging in the punk rock community. The grit and grime of street life were worn with pride, a testament to their resilience and their refusal to conform. In the face of adversity, these homeless punk rockers embodied the spirit of punk rock, raw, unfiltered, and unapologetically authentic. Their existence was a spit in the face of societal norms, a daring challenge to the conventional path of life. They rejected the traditional path of settling down and instead embraced a nomadic lifestyle. Their story, etched in the annals of punk rock history, remains a testament to the power of rebellion and the enduring spirit of the punk rock ethos. Hitchhiking became a common practice among homeless punk rockers, offering them a way to travel and experience life outside the conventional norms. With a thumb in the air and a bag slung over their shoulder, these nomads of the asphalt would traverse the country, seeking the next gig, the next adventure, or simply the next meal. Yet the open road wasn't the only mode of transportation for these rebels. Many found a home on the rails, hopping freight trains as an alternative to hitchhiking. The clatter of wheels on tracks became a familiar lullaby for those who chose this path. Riding the rails wasn't just a means to get from point A to point B, it was a symbol of freedom, a tangible embodiment of their rejection of societal norms. Hopping trains and hitchhiking were more than just modes of travel. They were about living on the edge, about embracing uncertainty, and about finding a sense of community among fellow travelers who shared their unconventional lifestyle. As one former punk rocker put it, "It was dangerous at times, sure, but it was also liberating. We felt like we were sticking it to the system." But the life of a homeless punk rocker wasn't all about the open road or the rails. Survival was an everyday struggle, and panhandling became a necessary means to an end. With cardboard signs scrawled with pleas for spare change, these individuals took to the streets, not out of choice, but out of necessity. Yet even in this, they found a way to maintain their rebellious spirit. Panhandling was more than just begging for money. It was a form of protest, a way of challenging the status quo, and highlighting the inequalities of a system that had failed them. Indeed, the life of homeless punk rockers was far from easy, but in their struggle, they found a sense of freedom and rebellion that became the cornerstone of their identity. They were the rebels without a home, living by their own rules, and in their own words, we felt like we were sticking it to the system. As the punk scene evolved into the 1990s, so too did the experiences of homeless punk rockers. The decade brought with it a series of economic downturns that hit the underprivileged hard, including our nomadic rebels. The streets became harsher, resources scarcer, and survival became an even fiercer battle. Yet in the face of adversity, the punk ethos of rebellion and resilience shone through. Rising urban gentrification further complicated matters. As city spaces transformed, the places that once provided a haven for the homeless punk community were gradually disappearing. The alleyways, empty buildings, and abandoned train yards, which had been their makeshift homes, were being replaced by high-rises and swanky shopping complexes. Yet, the punk community was not one to be easily displaced. They adapted, they improvised, they found new spaces, and most importantly, they stuck together. In fact, the challenges of the 1990s served to further solidify the bonds within the punk community. The shared hardships and struggles brought them closer together, forging a sense of camaraderie that was as strong, if not stronger, than any family ties. Punk rock, with its raw energy and defiant lyrics, provided a powerful outlet for these individuals. It was more than just music. It was a lifeline, a coping mechanism, and a form of protest against a society that had seemingly forgotten them. Punk rock gave them a voice, a means to channel their frustrations, fears, and dreams into something tangible and powerful. Social support structures, though few and far between, started to emerge during this period. Nonprofit organizations and advocates stepped in to offer assistance, recognizing the unique challenges faced by the homeless punk community. They provided not just food and shelter, but also emotional support, counseling, and resources to help them navigate the complexities of their lives. Despite the trials and tribulations, the homeless punk rockers of the 1990s refused to be silenced. They embraced their struggles, channeling them into their music and their lifestyle, turning their hardships into a badge of honor. The scene offered them a sense of belonging and camaraderie. Despite the challenges, the spirit of rebellion among homeless punk rockers endured into the 2000s. Economic downturns and societal changes may have shifted the landscape, but they didn't dampen the resilience of these modern-day nomads. They carried on, their music echoing through the alleyways and abandoned buildings they called home. This resilience wasn't just about surviving, it was about standing up to a system they felt had failed them. Staying true to the punk ethos, they continued to challenge societal norms, questioning the necessity of a fixed address, steady employment, and the trappings of conventional living. For many, punk rock became more than just a genre of music. It was a lifeline, a community, a form of protest. It was a platform that allowed them to voice their dissatisfaction with the status quo, to rally against the systemic issues that had forced them onto the streets in the first place. In the face of adversity, homeless punk rockers didn't just endure, they thrived. They found new ways to express their creativity, pushing the boundaries of punk music and culture. They organized DIY shows in underpasses and squats, turning the streets into their stage. They created zines and artwork, telling their stories through every medium they could get their hands on. And through it all, they remained fiercely independent. They rejected handouts and charity, choosing instead to rely on their resourcefulness and the support of their chosen family. Their fellow punk rockers. They were, in every sense, rebels without a home. As we move forward, it's important to remember the legacy of these individuals. They challenged our notions of what it means to live a fulfilling life, proving that home is not always a place, but sometimes a feeling, a community, a song. And there you have it, the untold history of homeless punk rockers. Despite the hardships, they embodied the punk spirit of rebellion and resilience, leaving an indelible mark on music and culture. Their story is a testament to the power of community, creativity, and the enduring spirit of punk rock.